Really have enjoyed working with your students over the last few weeks. Great to get to know them. I'm just going to go through, in this 10-minute block, I'll go through mostly some of the strategies that I use with Zoom and virtual teaching, and then the writing curriculum. And then we'll have an intermission, and you will join in the reading class for the next session. All right, so welcome. I'm going to just go through. I have a little bit of a PowerPoint. So in this one, here's our schedule for tonight. But I will take you guys through the ELA writing. Just a little bit about me. I've been a teacher in Troy for 21 years, a resident here for 16. I actually live right in this neighborhood at Larson. I love the outdoors. I love traveling. I'm a soccer coach for Troy Athens and for Troy Soccer Club. I was the 2016 Michigan Teacher of the Year semifinalist, and I've been a two-time TSD Teacher of the Year nominee, and I'm an Apple certified teacher. So I like technology, I like innovation. I actually teach an innovation class as well at Athens for 7th and 8th graders. I have two sons, so my wife and then my two sons, Austin and Aiden, and our dog Apollo, which everybody in our family loves. He's a German short-haired. He's a high energy, so he keeps me out in the trails even in the wintertime. So for materials for our class, the things that students really need, there's not a lot. Charged iPad, I always emphasize charged. A 2-pocket folder, they really don't need that until they come back to school, unless they're printing things at home, but I don't really require students to print anything. They'll need an independent reading book, and they will need a notebook, a composition book, which we use as both a writer's and reader's notebook. We just divide that right in half, and then a pencil, pen, something to write with. So just very basic supplies. Let's see, I still have some people entering. Then in terms of the virtual experience, I just wanted to kind of go through some of the things that I try to do to enhance the experience for students since we're not in the classroom right now. So we do have our expectations for, dressing appropriately, being on time, try to be prompt, try to locate yourself. I know these are not always possible, and we talked about that with students in the beginning of the year because everybody has different number of people working at home and different spaces, but trying to optimize their environment, being respectful of others, being prepared, participating, having cameras on, and trying to speak clearly and use the chat appropriately. Every week we have a weekly meeting, so we'll all kind of come in together, and every student shares something that they did over the weekend that they enjoyed or they found interesting, and I give every student about 30 seconds to share, so we get to kind of touch base with everyone. We also do some community building games, and I've taught the students how to play these, and then I host them the first time, and then after that, the students actually become the hosts. So we play Team Outburst, we do a scavenger hunt, we do a 20 questions game, and so we rotate those every day that they come, they're playing a different game. So we do a variety of those games. They're a lot of fun. We kick off reading with those. And you can see on the left side here, these students are, someone came up with Star Wars characters, and so they're brainstorming using the whiteboard while they're in their breakout room, as many Star Wars characters as they can think of. So it's a lot of, they get really engaged in that. We'll also do mindfulness activities as well. So there's a really good site just to, especially as we talk about trying to be in the moment of learning and trying to kind of focus on what we're doing in the classroom. I know some students will have multiple devices going. And so we try to really get them to just focus in and learn some of the core mindfulness strategies. Another feature that I use for Zoom are one-to-one conferring. So if I have 28 students, I make 28 breakout rooms. And so during independent reading or independent reading time. They go into their breakout room. They can call me into their breakout room if they need some support with something, or they want to talk about something in there about their books or their writing piece. And then I also join in on different breakout rooms and try to touch base with as many kids as I can during that time. So it's a nice kind of just one-to-one conferring, even quieter than it would, even more focused, I guess, or than it would be in a classroom. So. And then we'll do collaboration and sharing in small group breakout rooms as well. So students will collaborate with each other in their breakout rooms. In the one on the right, we did kind of a quick write, and each one of these students was sharing the writing piece that they did. So it's a good opportunity for them to get to know each other and learn more about each other as well, and work with one another. So it gives them that experience in small groups. I also do class polls. So this one, they rated their breakout room discussion. And we do the waterfall chats. So I might give them a topic. And this one, it's what's one thing you noticed the writer did that you might try in your own writing? And then they all type it in. And then I go 1, 2, 3, go. And it just goes down. I read them as they're kind of scrolling through. So that's a lot of fun as well. And it's a good way for everybody to participate at one time. For 6th grade writing, these are our units of study. So we started with a launch unit, welcome to 6th grade. We move into personal narrative, then literary essay, and we end with research-based information writing. So we just started the personal narrative unit. And in every unit, there will be rubrics for the students that kind of are pretty descriptive. And we often use exemplars, like student examples or professional writing examples for students to learn from. We actually did that today in class. And then the daily writing schedule, we have a class meeting or a mindfulness activity to kick off writing class. Then I'll do a mini lesson. Then the students will practice that skill or technique. And then they have a share time, which they love. We'll take a break in between. And then when we come back, we'll do some more independent writing or our read aloud. For writing, kind of some of the goals and areas we're working in, we're really trying to work to build our writing stamina. So currently some students are writing 1 to 2 pages during workshop time, which is great. And today they set goals in writing class. And our goal is really to try to, as teachers and ELA 6 teachers, is to try to get them to write 2 to 3 pages in one sitting by the end of the year. Not all the writing we do is revised, edited, and turned in. Like right now, we're writing lots of flash drafts. That's the beginning of this unit. So, and then the students will select a piece and they'll take that through the writing process. And then they'll select another piece after doing some work and they'll take that one through the writing process. So they do a lot of writing in our writing class though. All right, do I have any, I know we have about a minute before we hit the break. And then when we come back, we will be, when we come back, let's see there, you guys are gonna join through the reading Zoom. So there is a link in there. Do I have any quick questions though that I can answer about writing or about any of the Zoom techniques? That was such an awesome presentation. I just covered it all. All right. Oh, thumbs up. All right, Mr. Harden, thank you. Okay, so you guys get a 10-minute break, and then I will see you in the reading Zoom. All right, see you guys. Let's see here. We have, for reading, so in the first part, if you're just joining us, in the first part I covered some of the things I do with Zoom to increase engagement and participation, and then the writing curriculum. For reading, we also do a launch, and we still are in our launching unit, and that's where we really try to build our writing or our reading community. And we cover some of the basics. It's somewhat of a review unit for things that students have learned in the past. And then we have a unit called Deep Study of Character. And for this one, we are really looking at, it's a great unit, and we look at how characters have different traits and how sometimes they have traits that are good and they have traits that might be more negative as well. And so we look at rounded characters and We look at character change. So it's a really good unit for students to really dig deep into characters. And then we move into Tuck Everlasting, which is a novel study. And we look at, then we go into Peak, which is a Roland Smith novel. And that's kind of an adventure story. And there's a relationship with this boy and his father. It's somewhat of a survival story. And then we move into Out of the Dust, which is written in verse. So it's all poems. And it's about the Dust Bowl era. And then students will also read choice novels throughout. So whenever they're reading one of these novel studies, they also have an independent novel. And when we do launching and deep study of character, those are based on their independent novels. Traditionally, we also do book clubs, but this year with COVID, we might not be doing book clubs, so we'll see how that goes. This is our daily reading schedule. So for reading, we usually do a community building game, outburst, scavenger hunt. So Maddie led us in scavenger hunt today. And then we have 20 questions. And then students, they practice the skill or, so then we have our mini lesson, just like in writing. Then they practice the skill or strategy. They'll do a share time about their book and then about the strategy. And we'll take a break. And then when we come back, they'll have, depending on how the unit goes, they'll have independent daily reading or they'll have read aloud. So traditionally when we're in, if the book they're using, so like deep study of character or the launching unit, they're practicing the skill with their independent novel. So then I do read aloud usually after the break. So choice reading is really important. We really want kids to learn how to pick books, to discuss their book choices with other people. We really focus on authentic responses. And the goal is really to become a community of readers. So the best thing is when students are like, hey, read this book, and they are starting to give book recommendations to people and feeling really comfortable picking books out with one another. So that's always one of the best things in reading class. And then, so these are some of the areas that we really emphasize in both reading and writing is kind of all about authentic tasks. So choosing books, book talks, book reviews, book clubs, and then for writing, peer review and editing. And the classes really, they are based on lots of reading and lots of writing. And then we also have like the whole component of thinking, understanding, and discussing. We won't have tables like that in the classroom as students come back. We actually they replace those with desks right now. But we'll still try to do in some way the same types of things. So we focus on writing and reading strategies. We will use thinking routines throughout to the year based on whatever unit we're in. And then they like, the conferring and strategy groups. And one of their favorite things are these discussions. And so I've got to really work on how I'm going to pull this off this year, but they love it. There's this thing called a Socratic seminar, and the kids love it. And they start coming up with the questions themselves and that they want to ask about a text. And so they have to prepare for this discussion, and they come and sometimes we fishbowl it where they have a partner and their partner kind of keeps track of their participation, and then they keep track of their partner's participation, and it's a lot of fun. And it's something that they really look forward to. So I've got to work on figuring that one out with our technology and if we're hybrid and all that stuff. But and then for Schoology organization and grades, when you look at our Schoology page, they're all set up pretty similar, but there will be the link to our class. There will be a support link. So if students need support, they should message me on Schoology or email me and say, Mr. Fawcett, I need to meet with you today. And then we'll set up a time and I'll meet with them during the student support time. There's always a course resources folder with the syllabus in it. And then the districts asked us to have the folder that we're currently working on right underneath the course resources folder. So since we're doing Unit 2 personal narrative, that's the one that is right under the course resources. And then you can see on the right side, there will be reminders. Students have reminders too, like they have upcoming and reminders over here. On their right panel there, I show the students how to set it so that if they have a late assignment, something that hasn't been submitted, it shows up as there should be a past due area on the right side of theirs. And then there's a calendar in there, but those are some of the important things. And students, like they'll learn to check their grades, but one of the things on their iPads is they can check their grades, but they can't find the assignment that was graded. So they have to actually go into the folder, click on the assignment, and then they can click submissions and they can see comments and their grade on there. Inside a folder, you'll see files, you'll see discussions. This one doesn't have a discussion, and you'll see assignments. Like this has student collage project. So that's the icon for that. So those are the things that will be inside all the student materials. And I'll use grading rubrics. I have like a generic one that I use for formative assessments, things that we're just practicing. And that's really, if they meet the standards, like if they meet the criteria, they automatically get a 9 out of 10. And if they go above and beyond in some way, they can get up to 10 points on that. And so I use that for kind of a lot of like just basic work that we're doing in class where they're trying out a strategy or skill, but we haven't taken it through a process. And then every major writing piece or reading project will have a rubric with it with descriptors and scores that they can see ahead of time. And then I always have like, there's usually comments. So when they click on submissions on their iPad, they can see there's a comment on there, they can see their score, and then they can ask like, hey, if they don't like their score, they can say, Mr. Fawcett, can I, revise that and resubmit it? And I will say yes. And then assignments, those are things that only your student and I see. Nobody else can see their work. Discussions, other people can see their work, but they can't see their grades, and they can't see the comments that I put on their post. But other people, so people can reply to them and like theirs. For homework, they might get 20, I would say really probably right now, maybe 20, maybe 30 minutes a week in addition to what they're reading outside of class. So they should be reading 20 to 30 minutes at home. And all they have to do for homework is complete assignments they started here and finish and submit published writing pieces. So sometimes like I'll give them time in class to do it, but they might have to do it over the weekend. And that's pretty much late assignments. I'll give them, if it should show up in past due, then I'll change it to a 0 after a couple days. Then I'll message them. And at the end of a marking period, I change it. And then the last thing is some students do benefit from having either the My Homework app or getting a notebook planner or just using a small notebook to keep track of their actual assignments that are coming up. And that is it.